The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now your hosts, Nico De Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Paige Clarke and Nico De Haan,
Hi,
and we're
folks.
living a primal lifestyle today. And you can reach us to ask us your questions about health online at 877-927-6648. How are you, Nico?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. And a reminder, of course, to pick up our Health Signals newsletter. And we have a new issue out today, and it's packed full of things you need to know to keep on trading because you're going to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater, Paige. It's 59 degrees, going up to maybe the mid-70s today.
We'll have a nice Luck of the Irish St. Patrick's Day
that's
weekend,
right.
it
St.
looks like.
Patrick's. Yeah, the green beer is flowing, I guess.
We've got a lot of people, Irish listeners, up in the Boston area, too, right?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a big Irish contingency here. I mean, all the bars and everything are having the tents going up and things. That's a big tradition down here. So
Yeah,
kinda neat.
you and I are going to go get corned beef roast.
Yes, I'm
Corned
going
beef
to
biscuits.
Nature's Food Patch, where last night I gave a talk. It was packed, too.
It was fabulous, you guys. Well, you know how he is. He did a fantastic
Thank
job.
You. Thank
it was
you very
wonderful.
much. And the really good part was that the people were really participating in it and really listening. And I think there's maybe 35 or 40 people there, and really a lot of fun. And it was lasted about an hour and a half. I think we got
And
out
you had
of
a lot
there
of
about
questions afterwards.
Yeah, a lot of questions, a lot of nice people, and interesting people too. A guy gave me a card who has a business that he cleans homes and businesses with clean products. Mm-hmm. With no,
I have a guy that does that. They use orange oil.
Yeah.
The essential oil of orange is very, bugs don't like it.
Yeah. So pretty
That
cool
and
stuff.
anise. The
Yeah.
spice anise.
And then I one of the people in the front row, there was a couple in the front row, they were in their 70s and had just started the paleo diet maybe a couple of months and had quite a few questions how to adjust, and that's always the case. And he counsels people on marriages and relationships, and he says you can tell in a few minutes with a conversation with a couple, he says, if they're getting along and if the marriage is going to last. And it's an interesting guy. I'm going to be talking with him more, hopefully, in the future. And I really enjoy giving talks like that because not only am I talking about a subject that I really like, but you get to meet so many nice people and get their perspective on what's going on and how passionate people really are to want to be healthy.
And maybe this is a good chance, too, we can talk about it, Nico, but, even in that group, you still see the resistance.
Yes,
there was that interest in what what you were presenting.
Yeah.
But still, so many people just can't believe that we're sitting there telling them that eating clean animal foods is the healthiest way. Their jaws drop, and so that kind of made it fun.
Yeah, it makes
You
it
handled
fun.
it very well.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes it's difficult because you don't want to insult people. You want to give them information that makes sense, and sometimes it's not on the tip of your tongue either. So you stumble around a little bit. But it is important to realize that hunter and gatherers did eat meat. I mean, I had one of the participants saying, "Well, in the tropics, people ate. They were strictly fruit eaters and vegetable eaters, and sure they ate probably more of that." But if you watch a program like Bizarre Foods or any of these food programs where the guys go out and, they visit cities mostly, but once in a while they actually go out into the jungles or into the deserts and visit hunter and gatherer people. And when they get there, they say, okay, what do you guys do for food? And
They say, let's go hunting.
let's go hunting, exactly.
Even though they got the bananas and all these things hanging around.
That, and they eat the bugs and the crocodiles and the snakes and all these things, and they really go after those things.
That's because Weston Price found out that there was not a single super thriving traditional culture that didn't eat animal foods, or a single one that was a purely vegan,
and
the healthiest people.
And that's one of the reasons is that the animal provides you with the most for the least amount of time and effort to go into it.
Well, one of the things that popped into my head when we had that, I mean, basically everyone was very receptive, but there was the one or two people that, you know, you could tell they were vegan or pretty close to vegan or vegetarian. And we're not saying that we love the nutrients, and we know that there's great nutrition in vegetables and fruits. Yeah. The sad thing is that we really can't access most of it. We need the concentrators of the animal's digestive system and the fermentation and probiotics and things that happen to be able to absorb these things.
That's a really good point. And another thing is we are able to tap into the vegetables and the fruits a lot better in combination with the protein from animal and the fat from animal products.
Yeah, we need the fat. That's one of the things I like to tell people is that, you know, the greens, the kales, the spinach, the shards, and all these dark vegetables, they're great. They're loaded with all kinds of things. But if you don't have the fats to cleave them, you're not going to absorb them. Especially
the saturated fats.
The saturated fats is the key point.
Yeah, and that's what's been vilified. And, you know, for 50 years of the propaganda, having bad things about fat in our society. I mean, on the TV and everything you read, and still it's prominent. No wonder people don't believe it. I mean,
well, they've built the industry of fear that you're going to get heart disease if you eat saturated fat.
Yeah, advertising works, and the negative advertising works. So, the propaganda is still out there. However, I think we're getting a lot and more information about that, and we're also getting some negative information. Now, you had an interesting email from, Davis?
Dennis Dillon. Dennis. Yeah, he sent us an email, and Dennis, I apologize for the delay in getting back to you, but his question was, did we think that oatmeal was considered a grain, and should we avoid oatmeal? And unfortunately, yes, oatmeal is a grain that actually does have gluten. It is one of the less inflammatory grains as opposed to wheat and this kind of a thing. Like quinoa and amaranth and buckwheat, which is actually a seed. You can make buckwheat pancakes. These are grain-type products that maybe are less inflammatory. But I wanted to just share with you that you see the greatest result. And I don't know those of you that maybe know when I first started on the show, I told you I consider myself primal and traditional. I followed Weston Price. I would still have some grains. I knew there were certain ways you should sprout it. I'd love to know how to do sourdough bread. I've never done it. Yeah. But, in reality, I just did the best I could and bought some sprouted bread and would have the occasional grain. Guys, I just have seen a huge difference since I've cut them out completely.
And it's been about a month that you've come out?
Where I finally just said I'm going to quit. I'm going to be authentic and really do this. Yeah, it's been about a month or a month and a half. And it's, I've lost, probably 10 pounds at least.
But also,
I feel really great. I mean, absolutely not one single ache, pain. Eyes pop right open, feel rested, don't have hunger. So I really want to encourage you to step it up a notch and make the commitment that, you can always decide to go back. But what I find is that if you truly, really give up grains, I've spent the last 2 years saying, I'm kind of primal and I really don't eat a lot of grains. But the truth is, all you have to do is have it one time, and the allergic reaction that we have can last for months. Yeah. So that one bite of the birthday cake, is all it takes.
And everybody's different sensitivity, but because you're not sensitive to it and you don't feel bad immediately, doesn't mean that the reaction is not there.
Correct. The IgG, the response we get is the delayed response to food allergies. But no bloating, no gas in the belly, no bloated puffiness. So I really encourage you, just give yourself that treat. Yeah. Make the commitment to say you're going to really follow the Primal Lifestyle. You're going to avoid the grains. Just make it simple. You can eat a lot more food. I liked what Nico said at the end. What he said at the end of his talk. You can enjoy an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting those extra carbs in your starches. Maybe you have enjoy a beer with your.
Yeah, and even though the alcohol is kind of acts like a carbohydrate, it doesn't actually go to the pancreas.
Right. Well, I'm not.
So it doesn't report to the pancreas. It reports to the liver. Mm-hmm. So the liver is detoxifying that. But the pancreas, so you're not getting the
insulin spike that a carb or a starch would do.
And remember that insulin is the key to the fat entering your fat cells.
So that should make everybody happy since we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up.
Yeah, exactly. So you can enjoy it. Doesn't mean you have to overdo it, but a couple of drinks
absolutely not.
is not bad for you. In fact, there's still a lot of people saying that a couple of shots of whiskey or some wine will actually be a health boost to you.
Yeah, and there's been some studies that show that people that eat their food,
especially heart, it actually activates the heart.
Yeah, well, now that you say that, for example, there's a study that I was looking at that showed someone that had their meal with no wine, and then someone who had a meal with wine. Mm-hmm. And what they noticed was that the people who had the meal with wine had the lowest free radicals. So it's the idea of having a beverage like that with food to kind of slow the process down.
Yeah. You're not going to get up in the morning and have a beer and have some scotch. Yeah, exactly. You're going to do it after dinner, and that just makes the most sense. And even beer isn't bad. I recommend people not buying bottled beer. I think draft beer is the purest way of drinking beer.
I didn't know that. Why?
It just has less chemicals in it, the less processing. It's a purer form. It doesn't go through the packaging, which so there's just a lot. It's just a lot better product.
Well, those Irish beers, like Guinness Stout, those dark beers, they're loaded with B vitamins actually.
Yeah.
So
that if you're going to get your grains, that's the way to get your grains, as far as I'm concerned, from alcohol. So that's just it. So it was a real pleasure to have the meeting, and I'm hoping to be invited back. I just got a response from them, as a matter of fact, saying that they fill out forms and saying whether they like the program. And when I read through the response, there was only one, and that was the gal who was a vegan, who said, I would never eat this way, and the presentation was mixed information, and everybody else was, Nico's great. So.
Well, it was great. But it's always hard to get people to accept this because of
she's been there before. I mean, the last time she was there. So I'm wondering why she goes to, and she said on the thing.
She likes to hear herself talk.
Well, it's not only that. She said she wanted to hear more about vegetarianism and vegan lifestyle, and actually about once a week they have that there. Right. So, I mean, they're having plenty of the stuff that she likes, and why come and, to dissent on somebody, especially, she really made a point of even talking over me at a couple of points. Really, you feel that way, but the whole response was great. I was sitting in the back and I watched everyone's head, so it was really And it's
really
nice to have the other point of view, and I agree with that some people do pretty well on these things, but I think that possibly they could do better on a more primal type diet.
Well, we just need to understand that we like fruits and vegetables. We just realize they're more...
Yeah.
We need to make sure we're getting these proteins and fats. Those are what we use. Those are the essential nutrients, the fats and the proteins. Yeah. We need those to rebuild healthy cells.
Now, something you said earlier to me on our drive up here, you noticed that since you've gone off the grains, you also have reduced your fruits and vegetables a little bit more.
Yeah, well,
just automatically, right?
Yeah, just automatically. I just don't crave. I'm not really hungry.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, because I have my bulletproof coffee.
Yeah.
I vacillate between the butter and the coconut oil, and it's really hard for me. Sometimes I'm not really hungry for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then it's going to go work out, and then I have my little dreamsicle, my raw milk, orange juice, a little salt, a little lunch, a little dinner.
Cool. Want to do the outro?
No.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks. This is Nico and Paige on Living a Primal Lifestyle, and our number here is 877-927-6648. You can also email us at Nico or Paige at TFNN.com, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments. You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direxion Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direxion Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direxion Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direxion Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC. McEwen Mining is a high-growth, mid-tier producer in the Americas with a market capitalization of $1 billion. Experienced mining executive Rob McEwen, as chairman, CEO, and president, owns 25% of the outstanding shares of McEwen Mining and has put in place an ambitious business plan with the goal of qualifying for inclusion in the S&P 500 by 2015. With $70 million in cash and liquid assets as of the end of 2012 and completely debt-free, McEwen Mining is poised for growth. Production in 2013 is forecasted to grow at 24%, reaching 130,000 gold equivalent ounces, and over the next 3 years, McEwen Mining projects that their production will increase to 290,000 gold equivalent ounces, almost a threefold increase from last year's totals. If you'd like to find out more about McEwen Mining, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE or TSX under the symbol MUX.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
This segment is brought to you by Great Panther Silver. For more information, just click the Great Panther Silver banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the program. This is Nico and Paige on Living a Primal Lifestyle. And the number here, folks, is 877-927-6648. So please give us a call. Now, I want to go over some mail that we've got over the past week. I got some from Green, from Alan, from Steve, from Mitch. And
I appreciate it, you guys. This makes it really fun for us.
That's for sure. And this one from Green is really interesting. It's an article saying sugar and fat and
salt.
The salt, New York Times reporter Mitchell Moss, on how the food giants have hooked America on junk food.
And so again, that's where we keep getting that thinking. You know, we know that salt, sugar, and fat are not completely bad. It's the type of salt, sugar, and fat.
Exactly.
So
let's go take it one at a time. What the salt that's no good is your
processed, chemicalized table salt. Your little Morton girl.
Yeah.
You know, it's a chemical compound.
Yeah.
And it has basically no health benefits.
Right. Even the sea salt is better.
But a lot of the sea salts that you guys might be buying are actually marketing sea salts. You know, you have to look for the words unheated, air-dried, unprocessed, unrefined. That's very important.
Exactly.
And it's the Himalayan and the Celtic that have upwards of, 70 to 90 trace minerals. There are some other salts. It might be red... real salt, or some other ones that have around 40 or 50 trace minerals. I'm saying get the Himalayan, get the
and
Celtic.
Make sure you get the right Himalayan sea salts too, because some of them there's a bit on the web. I read a whole marketing scam that certain ones that you just have to read the label and make sure you're getting the real mineral salts from the salt beds high in the Himalayas from the ancient seabeds.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other types of Celtic salts and that are very good too. And I have 2 or 3 different salts in my cupboard, and I use different ones for different reasons. But I like seasoning. I season all my meat with the Himalayan sea salts or the
Well, it's
Celtic salts.
like you were saying last night. The salt was a very big part of our
Before
curing
refrigeration,
right.
That's how we kept our meats. We either dried them or used salt.
dried and salted,
Yeah.
salt cured.
Okay, so sugar, the bad sugars, of course, are your table sugars. Also, sugar substitutes are bad on most parts unless it comes from a plant.
Right. Stevia
Yeah.
is not. I do not consider stevia a sugar substitute. Stevia is an herb.
Right.
You can grow it in your garden. You can make your own stevia extract. And stevia is actually very good for re-educating the pancreas. And I like stevia.
Yeah.
I like stevia.
Some people don't like the taste of it, the little aftertaste on some of them. Some brands, however, and you kind of have to go through them.
Right.
So the other thing is the fats, of course, and we've talked about this endlessly, but let's briefly go over it. The good fats, the bad fats really are your vegetable oils, your trans fats. These are fats that are in liquid form, and they've been made into liquid form through a high heat processing or a chemical process, right?
Right. Or your things like margarine, which are
Yes.
hydrogenated fats.
Hydrogenated.
Hydrogenated and seed. So
Crisco.
mostly, your seed oils. And the other reason for this, guys, is that we call them polyunsaturated fats, or PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs. And the thing about the polyunsaturated fatty acids, the reason that they're, you think about it this way, their chemical constituents are that they have open slots on their chemical makeup. So it's easy for them to kind of fall apart or other chemicals get in there. In other words, free radical damage can happen. Saturated fats have all their slots, parking lots full. So they're safe. They don't break down. So that's really the whole thing. And we were talking about that a little bit before.
Yes.
All right, so when you look at your skin or you see older people starting to get liver spots.
That's the oxidation of the PUFAs, right?
I believe that's what I understand. They also have a name called lipofuscin. Lipofuscin is bronzing, browning of the skin. It's where we have a combination of glycation. We've talked about glycation and free radical damage from oxidized nutrients. So, if you that's where we got back to the idea about even fish oils. We've been talking about this is maybe more of a marketing thing than because so many of these polyunsaturated fats have these open slots on their chemical makeup, which can lead them to free radical damage. So we don't want you to do that. We want you to stay with saturated fats.
Everybody's taking the PUFAs, and probably you feel better on them because you don't get that much saturated fat. Once you get enough saturated fat in you from great animals, then all of a sudden you don't need the PUFAs so much anymore because the PUFAs will help you with inflammation. But
the bottom line is the body needs fats, and it's going to want the fats.
Yeah.
But
it's
let's
going to get
try
it from wherever you can get it.
But the one thing we want to say is that Ray Peat tells us that it takes like 4 years to get rid of all the PUFAs in your cells.
Yep. Here's your outro right there.
Oh, okay. We'll see you after the break. This is Paige and Nico. Call us at 877-927-6648.
Nice.
Okay.
We'll be right back, folks.
Just recently, on December 28th, Market Insight subscribers were advised to go long the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100 ETF, on December 28th at $63.91. And only 2 trading days later, after a huge jump in the markets, Market Insight subscribers were advised to sell the QQQ at $66.64 for a $2.73 or 4.27% profit to start off 2013. At the same time, Tom O'Brien had advised his clients looking for a more leveraged trade that they could have initiated a position in the QLD, the ProShares Ultra QQQ ETF, and over the same 2 trading days, Market Insights subscribers were able to lock in a $4.48 profit or an 8.47% gain in just 1 trade. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during your free trial and pay nothing. Don't miss out on the next great trading opportunity in 2013. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Recently, Basil Chapman has had some outstanding trades in his newsletter, The Opening Call. Each morning by 9 a.m., Basil uploads his newsletter to the TFNN servers so that his subscribers can access his expert trading advice. Basil gives his take on the direction of key indices and updates any active trades that his subscribers are currently in. Just recently, Basil's subscribers closed out a short position in Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG, for more than an $86 profit per share, over a 20% gain in just 1 position. If you'd like to try out Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, then visit the front page of TFNN.com and click Trading Newsletters. There you'll find Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, where you can request a free sample copy. Also, don't miss Basil's program, The Tiger Technicians Hour, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, on TFNN.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, Tigers and Tigresses, and it's Paige and Nico, and we're living a primal lifestyle. And we're kind of continuing with some emails that we've gotten this week, and you had one from Steve.
Yeah, I got one here from Steve, and it says, "Hi, Nico. I enjoy your show and approach to health. As a young lad, I grew up learning to hunt, fish, and farm in northern woods of Canada and Maine, courtesy of my father. I believe in a wide variety of foods in our diet and definitely shade towards the paleo diet. I recently found this article and wondered if you would like to address it. Maybe on your show, and we certainly were going to do that. Now, the show, the name of it is The Paleo Diet is Uncivilized and Unhealthy and Untrue. So I thought we'd take this one bit at a time, because this is, these
are some of the things that perhaps as you start to embrace this type of lifestyle and eating habit, people are going to say, hey, I read this, I read that. So I think it's worth it, because I think it kind of goes along with what you experienced this weekend too. Yeah,
so the article starts off really saying that it's a low-carbohydrate diet, which means it's high in animal foods and low in plant foods, which that's very true. Mm-hmm. It says, though, it includes, it tells you what it includes, and then it says the diet works by starving the human body of carbohydrates in order to induce a state of illness. called ketosis.
Right. Okay, ketosis just means that we're using fat
as a fuel.
Right. And in some way, they've tried to scare people into that that's a bad thing.
Well, the many doctors, and I know some doctors that have even told me, state of ketosis of burning fat is actually a disease. It's an illness, and you shouldn't. It's very dangerous. So there is a difference between ketosis in a healthy person and a ketosis in somebody who may be diabetic.
Right.
And that's where the issue is. When I think the physicians study ketosis, they study it in the form of diabetes situation. Mm-hmm. And
well, they're also talking about an extreme form.
Yes.
An extreme form.
Yeah.
It's a mild ketosis that we might experience, in burning the fat. I mean, this is where people are completely devoid of using any sugars,
Yeah.
I mean, we have some vegetables in our diet.
Well, not only that, protein can be converted to glucose.
Right.
A certain amount always gets converted into glucose. So if you're eating animal protein, part of that does go into a glucose, which carbohydrates are complete 100% glucose.
Our body is very intelligent
Yes.
and uses the proteins and fats to convert to the glucose that's needed for those functions that need the quick glucose, like the brain.
Yeah. And really, what modern diets have actually done is replace the meat with the grains. Mm-hmm. Both are acidic.
Correct. Conventionally. Conventional beef raised on corn
is highly acidic.
In a diseased state, in
Yeah.
a sad state, the emotional state of these animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's acidic.
Yeah. So, but
not
lower.
so with a grass-fed.
No,
free
it's still
range.
it's acidic compared to the mean line. It's slightly, because it's a 3-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3, and omega-6 is more acidic. So certainly it is more acidic. But the problem is if you're eating meat and grains together, now you've got a really highly acidic situation.
So your steak and
especially,
potato.
Yeah, steak and potato, exactly.
Right. But steak and a salad, kind of balancing.
Exactly. But to steak and grains in a salad, not balancing.
Right. Right.
Now, if you ate just grains and vegetables, then you've got more of a balance, but then you have a problem of digestion.
All right, so talking about that acid alkaline, a lot of people don't understand that, pasteurized, processed milk and dairy.
Yeah.
Acidic.
Highly acidic.
Highly acidic.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. Dead fuel.
Raw milk is an alkaline product. Neutral alkaline.
Yeah.
So you see what we're talking about? When we hear these studies that people that have eaten animal foods get diseases and heart disease, remember, they're studying sick populations that have been eating sick food. Mm-hmm. And it's like Nico made the point this week at the meeting last night. We have to understand that if we know that we shouldn't be eating grains, that grains are inflammatory in our bodies, but yet we're feeding these animals, the cows and so forth, the pigs, grain.
And, how that came about was really that the grains are, growing there, and farmers a long time ago found out if you want to get a little bit more money for your beef, you need to fatten them up a little bit.
Well, it's like we were talking about the hogs.
Yes.
The way to fatten up hogs is skim milk and grains, which is basically what we feed our kids every morning.
Yeah.
Cereal and milk.
Yeah, and it used to be, let the cattle drink water, mm-hmm. and that would add weight to it. But when you feed them grains, and this used to be, of course, when they were transporting thousands of miles up to Wichita, Kansas, or something like that. But anyway, that's how it actually got started, as far as I know.
But this is a good example. This article that we're looking at is a good example of how someone. This is a drmcdougall.com.
A vegetarian, by the way.
A vegetarian who is, obviously, spreading this concern of the damage of animal foods as opposed to vegan. So
okay, so the second point of the article says the paleo diet, the newest promoter of eating the planet and its inhabitants to death. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly the opposite. What's happened is really, if you eat farmed food and agricultural food, not only are you, to make a farm go, you need a lot of hands. Right. And people who are farmers have a lot of children. So if hunter and gatherers usually have one child, sometimes two children. And so the promotion of having more children came with agriculture itself.
Well,
so now you need to feed more people, and you can feed a heck of a lot more people on grains because you can store them. There's no doubt about that. But what happens to the earth is a big difference, because when you're doing monocrops, now you're destroying habitats.
Yeah, it's really when we got into this, this industrialized agriculture, whether it be plants or the industrialized agriculture of raising CAFO, confined animal factory operations. That's what that means, CAFO. So let's go back to, you and I were talking about, the Indians. What in the world did we do?
They followed the animals.
They were hunters and gatherers. They left not a footprint.
Yeah.
They used the animals for food, and then they used their skins for their teepees and their clothing and their bones, and made soups and for their tools. And so the hunter and gatherer was the one that was preserving the world. And now he's saying this is the promoter of eating the planet and its inhabitants to death.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that we're killing rainforests for
for cattle
ranches.
Yeah.
We got to again look at
well, there's another way of looking at it too. I think it would be much better if we let the animals wild, create large spaces for these animals to grow, and then we can go on hunting them.
Right.
We've got plenty of people who love to hunt, and people who don't, well, they become cooks, and, there's lots of other things to do on this planet. So I think wild food is going to be the purest food, because the sick ones die, and we don't, when we hurt them, we make the animals more less healthy. There's no doubt about it.
So again, it's what we're doing at the planet is this unconscious type of raising of animal and food, this unthoughtful. Then when we can look at people like, I don't know if you guys have ever checked him out, but Joel Salatin,
great guy.
The farmer, Polyface Farms in Virginia, which is really kind of cool, because his farm is a half an hour from where my grandparents were. All my family is.
And he doesn't even ship food, folks. His ideas are so pure that he wants the people from the area to have his meat.
Yeah, but you can go watch videos on how he raises his food and how he takes his chicken coops and move them, and it's just beautiful. And that's the way we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the way.
So there are modern ways of doing this and still preserving the land.
Exactly.
But the idea of thousands and thousands of acres of corn and wheat and things like that, that's really what's destroying the whole atmosphere too. And he talks about Lauren Cordain and his approach, and really Lauren Cordain has a real dry sense. He's a scientist. And
Colorado State University.
University. And so his material is a lot drier, and you really need to dig into it. But he says the agricultural revolution, which started 10,000 years ago, and they promoted the grains and the legumes and potatoes. They were introduced worldwide. Yeah, some of that's true. That's kind of loose, because 10,000 years ago, only in a small part of the world, in the Mideast. Europe probably didn't get agriculture, and a lot of it maybe 2,000 years ago in the north part of Europe.
So the key point here, everyone, is that agriculture is very young.
Yeah.
For millions of years, the evidence shows that we thrived and were healthy on a hunter-gatherer diet.
And
a primal diet.
Industrial agriculture is even younger than that. And there's various stages, 250 years ago, 150 years ago, and now 50 years ago, things even changed, because then we introduced all these different oils.
I'd like to see a chart of industrial agriculture and disease, and I think we'll see
you'll see
direct correlation.
Exactly, and there's been studies that, and there's a lot of it too. And of course, then he goes into talking about the primates and how our nearest relatives are actually vegetarians, and actually our nearest relatives is really us. We don't have any real descendants. There are no monkeys alive that we're descendants from. That's a completely different line. And most of the monkeys, or at least the gorillas and the larger apes, are vegetarians. They eat all day. They have large stomachs. And they
have a completely different digestive system than we do.
Yeah. We're carnivores, folks. We're the number one predator on the planet. And all the wars and everything, that should at least convince you of that. We're hunters. That's what we're bred as. And we are predators, and our whole body is lined up that way, from our teeth to our digestive systems and our intestines. Our intestines are short, are long, and our stomachs are small. All the the animals that eat the greens have large stomachs, short intestines. And the reason some of them have multiple stomachs, because this stuff has to ferment. That's why we have to ferment this stuff. If we're going to ever eat any grains or any beans, we have to ferment it, and we have to have fermented outside of our body. We won't want anything fermenting inside of our body.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense.
And when we eat in our stomachs, that is a highly acidic pH of like 1 or 2, stomach acid. That's to dissolve meat.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Hydrochloric acid. And that's really one of the questions I should have said, to a vegetarian is, how do you explain hydrochloric acid? Because hydrochloric acid is not the acid that's in animals that eat plants. Mm-hmm. They don't have hydrochloric acid. Only carnivores have hydrochloric acid. Yeah. And that's our main acid.
That's right. And, the long intestine is for absorption. That's what's happening there. Absorption and creation of waste and packaging what we need and what we need to get rid of. And it takes a little bit of time. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And the last thing he says, a hunter-gatherer diet is repulsive. And
this is talking about, he makes a comment, a paleo follower is required to eat alligator, bear, kangaroo, deer, rattlesnake, and wild boar. They're on the menu and that you can order them through mail order. Well, we know that that's not required. We're just saying.
I like that.
Yeah, well, I've never had some of those things, though.
I've had alligator, I've had snake. I haven't had possum or anything like that, but I've eaten quite a few different wild animals.
But I bet you that's what our ancestors did eat.
Of course they ate. Snake is fabulous. I've had a rattlesnake a number of times. It's great. It is texture of chicken. Tastes a little bit more. No, it tastes a little bit more like frog legs. I would say.
Never had those either.
Yeah. So reptiles do have a little bit different taste to them. They're delicious, and there's plenty of them around, and that's what our ancestors ate. They also ate grubs and mealy worms. Well,
the idea is to eat the whole animal, and I believe that the glandular exposure to the glandular parts of animals is really the key. It's kind of almost like homeopathy. Like cures like, right? If you eat the thyroid or the heart, and that's what our ancestors and traditional people. Some of it was very sacred, right?
Of course.
Exactly.
Animal is sacred. I mean, when you kill an animal, you're eating you're having that part of that animal, that spirit enters you. It's a much more spiritual thing than eating a plant, I think. I think the thing with me is plants are here for us.
Maybe they were more our medicine. If you think about it.
That's exactly it.
The
herbs are more of a medicine. It's made to flush us. Mm-hmm. If we think about it being seasonally, naturally, fruits and vegetables are seasonal fruits, are seasonal plants, and you have a certain plant at a certain time of year, but if you eat it all the time, it doesn't have the same effect.
Exactly. And
if you have antibiotics every day...
Like a watermelon flush. Think about watermelon, a short period of time that a watermelon's in season.
Right.
Maybe that's... And if you have kidney stones, you start eating watermelon, the seeds and stuff like that, you can turn this stuff around.
Right.
So kidney issues. So maybe you're supposed to kind of do a little kidney cleansing in the summer with watermelon.
Sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Watermelon juice is great.
You're not going to put it in your smoothie every day.
No.
You're not going to get the same effect.
If you do, you might get a little bit out of it, but...
You're not going to do it the same.
Hey, listen, we have a caller. I think we're going to wait till the break here because...
Chris from Boulder.
Yeah, so
we got 1 minute and then
Chris.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, exactly. And what is the rest of it is really talking... He's still bashing everything here.
Well, his argument is that he says that there's evidence that people have lived on starch-based diets, and we are saying that's not the case.
Well, he's right in a certain sense, because there's a lot of, like, the Aztecs and the...
the Aztecs and the Egyptians, in the mummies and so forth, they saw that they had diabetes and all kinds of diseases.
Yeah, there's
and they were sugar starch eaters.
Recent studies with mummies all over the world, and remember the mummy societies were grain-eating societies. Well, we're talking about the societies before the mummies, were the grain eaters, or not the grain eaters.
We're the hunter-gatherers,
hunter-gatherers. So these ones who did dabble in the grains do show the cancers. They show many of the modern diseases that we have. Maybe not at the level that we have today, but certainly then.
Yes.
So I hope that answered most of your questions. We're going to be back with Chris from Colorado right after the break, folks. And remember to pick up my Health Signals newsletter. I got a new issue out, and you need to take a look at it. So we'll be right back. Thanks.
TFNN legend Bud Rolfs has come out of retirement to bring you a special report and a one-time only webinar that will show you what's going to happen in the markets over the next 4 years. Bud Rolfs is the former chief technical analyst of the Tiger Trading Post at TFNN and is a true market innovator who has taught thousands of students how to read charts and be more successful traders. Don't miss this chance to learn from a TFNN legend and get this timely market advice that will put you on the right side of the market for the next major move. Plus, he'll show you his expert analysis on the current major markets and explain the technical setup that is predicting a move of over 50%. We're offering this one-of-a-kind special package for only $179, and the moment that you sign up, you'll gain access to Bud's 11-page executive summary where he provides you with the keys to his market call and prepares you for his live 90-minute webinar on March 21st. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind offer. Sign up today on the front page of TFNN.com.
With the launch of Tiger TV, TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Carol Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And welcome back. We have one last segment, and we've got Chris from Boulder, Colorado, and he wants to ask us something regarding homeopathy. Chris, are you out there?
Yes, I am.
Hi,
Hello,
Chris.
Paige.
How are you?
Hey, Nico.
Hi.
I'm doing well.
Wonderful. You're a beautiful place out there where you are.
Oh yeah, it's been psycho weather for the last week.
Yeah, no kidding. Boy.
Snow, it melts.
Yeah, what's your question?
No, I was going to ask about homeopathy, but I got a dare from my girlfriend who is actually listening right now, and she said, "Why don't you ask about addiction?"
Ah.
And I think I can tie that in a little bit. I have a great doctor in Boulder, and he prescribed a homeopathic that particularly addresses alcohol cravings. And I think this can tie in also with trading, because it seems to me that a lot of traders have, well, they kind of like their alcohol.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, you know, addictions are a problem, certainly, and, you know, there's a lot of food addictions out there, too. In fact, one of the ingredients of most grains is a morphine-like descendant that is embedded in the grain and makes you crave it.
Right. Yeah, and the sugars and the core component of what is in alcohol and in carbs is this morphine that just creates that wanting more. The sooner you can kind of cut them out, you'll stop having the cravings. It's just amazing. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say that when you cut out your grains and your starchy foods from your diet, as you become more paleo and more primal, your cravings for alcohol will decrease too.
Yes.
Significantly.
Well, it's always been beer, so that's a clue, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's like Paige said, you cut out the grains, and you don't have the craving to have as much and as often.
You don't, the hunger that comes into your life when you have those foods in your life, you know, when you're eating them, it just isn't there. You have your fats and your proteins, and you just don't crave the sugars. You just, sometimes you're like, gosh, I haven't even eaten, but I'm not even hungry.
If you ever go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, you'll find at the table all the donuts and sugary and starchy things there, because they still haven't gotten over their problem. They've kind of just shifted it.
Shifted it to a different, that's a good point. But the use of homeopathy, I think, is, Chris, I love homeopathy. I think it's a fabulous medicine. It was really the medicine that this country was built on prior to the pharmaceutical companies taking over medical schools.
That's a whole story in itself.
Oh, yes. And I use homeopathy with my clients in my office.
Yeah. That's what her business is built on.
Homeopathy and foods and essential oils. So I think that if you're using that yourself and it's helping you, are you having some success with homeopathy and helping you with cravings?
I have done homeopathy off and on. The main thing going on right now is all the addiction stuff. But I have this weird mixture of where I do health food, and I love shopping at the health food store, and then I have an addiction that so I'm putting good things in, and I'm taking them away with the other hand. Yeah.
Well, my recommendation is get off the grains and the beans and most starches, and I think you'll start feeling a difference in how you approach those problems.
Yeah, and you're on the right step right there, just realizing it. You're
it's more than just willpower. Yeah. There is an addiction there, so you cut out those things, and that's going to be a big help to you, I believe.
Thanks for calling in, Chris. We're running out of time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Y'all are great.
Oh, thank you. Stay tuned.
Call back again, please.
Yes. Love to help you out.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the show, folks. Pick up my Health Signals newsletter, and I'll be gone for a couple of weeks, but Paige is going to be here with some wonderful guests, and, of course, Tom is going to help you out.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, folks.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.